What's up, my friend? Alright, today I'm going to show you exactly everything you need to know about mixing your ad-libs. Welcome to my channel. I'm glad you were able to find a video today that can take your ad-libs to the next level. I'm Macro from Mixing with Macro. I'm a professional recording and mixing engineer, and I do recording and mixing for major record labels and many independent artists. In the description, you can grab a 5-step cheat sheet that will take your mix to the next level. I set it up so you can get a stream-ready song in less than 30 minutes. Go ahead and check it out. It's absolutely free. All right, now this is the song that we got here. I was talking to some of my subscribers and they mentioned to me that ad-libs can be very challenging. They don't really know how to make it stand out, how to mix it very well with the vocal. So I'm making this video not only for them, shouts out to you, but also for other mixers and artists who might find it a little bit more challenging to mix ad-libs very well, very consistently. Now there's a few things that you can do with ad-libs. It just really depends on what you're going for with the particular song that you're working on. Some artists like their ad-libs in the telephone effect where it's back in the mix. You don't really hear it a lot. It's just there as a nice little piece of ear candy. I'm going to show you exactly how to get that. And other artists really like their ad-libs to sit more up front, like the ad-libs to play off the main vocal as a nice little compliment. And I'll show you how to do that as well. All right, now let's jump in. I'm going to disable all these plugins here. This is the song that we're working with. Let's play a little bit of it so you can hear it.
I spot a blick, then I got it though. Baby, tell me what you doing. You know my trades, how you moving. I know the ways you pursuing. If you dropping rakes, let's do it. I gotta be like that. I gotta be so.
All right, so this is some of the ad-libs here. This is the ad-lib track. So these are the ad-libs we're going to be working with here today. This is the entire rest of the mix. See the mix in there, all the vocals and stuff. All right, cool. So here is the ad-libs. Now, right in this section is where he has a lot of ad-libs that are more like sound effects if you listen to it.
I'ma really toss for sure. Trust me, I slide for bro. For Cavalli, I slide for show. Every sharp probably got the pole. Cause if I see him, then I gotta throw. And trust me that she know. That's my.
Okay, cool. Now, one quick secret that I find with ad-libs is sometimes the ad-libs will come in really loud, especially when people make like gunshot sounds, and other ad-libs where the artist just repeats the last word of the last bar that it just said. With that, what tends to happen is that some of the loud, more effect type of sounds, like the gunshot sounds they would make, come in a little bit louder than those other sounds. But you could see right here how some of these ad-libs here are louder and these aren't as loud. Very, very simple. I use Control Shift and the scroll wheel once I got it selected and just scroll up so it matches the same level. You could see it right there. Okay, cool, just like that. But just imagine you have like a really, really long song and it's a lot of ad-libs and you don't want to go through and do all that. Another thing you can do is just put the RVox. I would just put the RVox there and then I would just comp it and just bring everything up so it compresses and bring it up to a really good level at that point. But in this case, we don't need to use it. That's just a little tip that you can have in your back pocket when you encounter scenarios like that and you don't want to work so hard. Most popular way to do ad-libs is with the telephone effect. Very, very simple. You got telephone effect here. It usually looks something like this, where you have all this and it bumps up right there. Boom. Or you could just go to your settings, vocals, and click the telephone vocal right there. All right, this is what it would sound like.
Like what? Like boom, boom, boom.
Right? Okay, cool. You could do that. Some artists like that, some artists don't. For artists that don't like it, you just not do it, just take it off. And another popular part of doing ad-libs that most people tend to do is to have the ad-libs pan back and forth. To achieve that, I just use the Pan Man plugin from Sound Toys. If you don't have the Pan Man plugin, you could use another plugin that Waves has. It's called the Auto Panner. That works just as well. If you don't have either of those plugins or you like to be more intimate with your vocal, you could just make another track and then just pan one track to the left and the other one to the right and just drag down the stuff that you want to go from the left to the right. But that's if you really want, like, okay, I want this word to come to the left, I want this word to come to the right, and you don't want to just, you know, auto pan everything. You could just do it like that. That's one way you could do it. So this is what it sounds like with the auto panner.
Like what? Like boom, boom, boom. Sky, sky, sky. Like what? Trust me that she know, that's my twin Bino. She wanna eat and go, that's a eater though. If I
right? Pretty effective, pretty easy. You can get and achieve your ad-lib section right there. Okay, most times ad-lib tracks are a little bit lower than the main vocal, so you can see how I have it here at minus 12.6 dB. So you pull it down a little bit. If we were to put it at 0 dB, listen to what it would sound like.
From the U, I'ma really toss for sure. Trust me, I slide for bro. For Cavalli, I slide for show. Every sharp probably got.
It's not bad, all right, but you don't want it to distract from the main vocal. That's why you tend to pull it down in the mix a little bit more. But then you can play with the volume to see how loud you like things and how low you like things in the mix. Some artists like it a little bit louder than some, and some artists like it a little bit lower. It just depends on your preferences. Another nice effect that you can put on your ad-libs is the doubler. All right, you can just put a doubler on it.
Yo, I'ma really boom, boom, boom.
Kind of gives it a little phasing effect. Usually I pull out the middle of it, so you just hit the direct, you just hit that button and it just mutes everything in the middle, so it just goes on the side. The only thing with that though is when you also have this plugin right here, the Pan Man plugin, that's going back and forth, so it kind of cancels out the effect of what the Pan Man plugin is really doing. You can still get that pan effect, but you wouldn't get it as much as if you did not have the doubler on it. So listen to it with the panning and the doubler.
From the what? Boom, boom, boom. For Cavalli, I slide for show. Every sharp probably got the pole.
It still kind of sounds like it's in both headphones or both speakers, right? Depending on where you're listening to when you have the doubler and the panner. But without the doubler, you could just do like that. Or you could just not use the panner and just have a double on it.
From the U, I'ma really toss for sure. Trust me, I slide for bro.
But the goal of ad-libs, the way we mix it here, is to have the ad-libs stand out from the vocal without being too distracting. So if you like it with the vocal, with the ad-lib vocal down the middle, and it just has a little bit of width to it, it can work just as well, as long as you like the way your music sounds like that. Let's go back to the EQ for a little bit. This is what it sounds like with the telephone effect on it, right? What I find more interesting is to have the ad-libs sound just as clear as the lead vocal. So for instance, instead of doing all the full telephone effect, I would still have the little bump there, and I would just clear out a little bit more so more of the vocal comes out.
Like what? Like boom, boom, boom.
Right? This is it before.
Like what? Like boom, boom, boom.
Right? Now listen to it with the lead vocal.
From the U, I'ma really toss for sure. Trust me, I slide for bro.
Sounds a little bit more natural. Really like the sound of this. It's really nice. That's where you would want to pull it down in the mix a little bit. So you would turn it down a bit, so it's not distracting from your main vocal. All right, the main vocal is a star to show. The ad-libs are just there to support. In this context, keep in mind the other context where ad-libs can be used to play off of the lead vocal. That's where you would play with your volume to see where it would sit nicely in your song. All right, so let's keep it like this without any of the telephone effect, just a little bit of it with the little bump, and we cut off a little bit of the highs and have a little bit of the lows, but you know, we're not going to hear any of this anyway. Let's keep it like that. Now remember, in a scenario where the ad-libs is not the star of the show, it's just there to support the main vocal, we like to add reverb. Now there's two ways you can add the reverb. One, you can add the reverb using a send channel. Now I have send set up in my template here. You can go Valhalla and you can just send the reverb there, depending on how much processing your computer can do. A lot of reverb plugins these days don't take up that much processing, so even if you have a computer that probably is not optimized to go crazy with plugins, you can still use some of the reverbs that we have available here today. But just say your computer might get a little bit bogged down. That's where we use sends. We can take that signal and we can add it to our ad-libs. Now let's listen to it with reverb.
Boom, boom, boom. From the U, I'ma really toss for sure. Trust me, I slide for bro.
It's nice. If you're looking for that nice clean sound where it's there and has good depth, reverb on the ad-lib is not too distracting, that's a great way to do it. What I like to do is to put it directly on the track. Now this is one of my favorite reverbs here, Valhalla. It's really awesome. Now the mix knob is where we're gonna be focusing a lot of our time, but pre-delay is very important and the decay time is very important. Now I'm just gonna turn it on with these settings and then we're gonna tweak. I'm gonna show you exactly how to put the perfect reverb settings inside of your ad-libs. Now this is it with the plugin on the track.
Like what? Like boom, boom, boom.
Right? You could definitely hear the reverb a whole lot more. Now, in my taste, depending on, you know, your tempo of your song, that's where your decay time is going to come in and your pre-delay time is going to come in, right? Now, I'm going to show you a quick website where you can calculate this very fast. If you go to Google, you get the delay and reverb calculator. We established our song is at 140, and we could see that the pre-delay time is at 53.57 milliseconds and the decay time is 3 seconds. That's 3.3 seconds. Let's just call it that. All right, so let's put it here at 3 seconds, 3.3 seconds. You could just type it in. 3.3 seconds, and we had this at 53.57 milliseconds.
Like what? Like boom, boom, boom.
Let's listen to it within the mix.
From the York, I'ma really toss for sure. Trust me, I slide for bro. For Cavalli, I slide for show. Every sharp probably got the pole. Cause if I see him, then I gotta throw. And trust me, that.
Okay, cool. It's a little bit distracting. It's nice, but that's where you take the mix knob and we turn it down a bit.
From the York, I'ma really toss for sure. Trust me, I slide for bro. For Cavalli, I slide for show. Every sharp probably got the pole. Cause if I see him, then I gotta throw. And trust me, that.
Okay, cool. Now, once we got that, we can add delay. You don't have to add delay to your ad-libs. It really adds a nice effect to it and puts it a little bit back in the mix, and it complements your reverb a whole lot nicely.
From the York, I'm a boom, boom, boom. Sky, sky, sky. Then I from the York, I'ma really toss for sure. Trust me, I slide for bro. For Cavalli, I slide for show. Every sharp probably got the pole. Cause if I see him, then I gotta throw. And trust me that she know. That's my twin Bino. She wanna eat and go. That's a eater though. If I decide.
Really, really nice. All right, so big takeaways from this video. Ad-libs are meant to sit in your mix nicely and complement what you're doing in the lead. It's not meant to distract, it's not meant to be louder. If that's the aesthetic that you're going for within your song, then let it be, because that is what you want. These practices is what brings your ad-libs and make it sound very pleasing to the listener. You might like it, but then it might throw the whole experience off when you release it to your fans. Number two, you can use the telephone effect to get that effect, because the telephone effect really distinguishes the ad-lib sound from the lead vocal sound, and that's why it's used a lot, but you don't have to do it. I find it works very nicely sometimes, and other times I like the sound of the natural vocal even on the ad-libs. I just tuck it away in the mix a little bit and add reverb and effects. That brings us to number three. Reverb, delay help add more depth to your ad-libs and help it sit in the mix nicely, and provides a little bit of ear candy without being too distracting to your lead vocal and the overall song. And some other key takeaways when it comes to using the pan man, where it pans back and forth from speaker to speaker. It is there to distinguish, again, nice little ear candy. You know that, all right, the ad-libs are going, lead vocal is going, but it's not so distracting. It just complements and builds on your song and add more texture to your song, which is very, very pleasant. Key plugins to use for that: the pan man from Sound Toys. You can use the auto pan, or you can use it the manual way, where you can duplicate your ad-lib tracks and pan one to the left and then pan one to the right. That's it, my friend. Hope you learned a lot from this video. Ad-libs are a really cool way to make your mix sound even better. That's why it's done a lot. It's definitely there to enhance your song. When you find a technique that works for the type of music that you work on, and you master how to do it and get your sound sounding just the way you want it to sound, the ad-libs is going to be there as a great compliment, and people are going to love you for it. That's it, my friend. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.